Welcome to Dark Horizon Creations. This time we're taking a look at the Action Force Swarm Tracer figure by Valiverse. Now, if you hadn't already, please follow, like, and subscribe to my social media accounts on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Don't forget to hit that bell icon so you get a notification of when I post new content. Alright, so tonight I've got a really special product review for you all. This is something I have been waiting a very long time and finally have in hand. The Action Force Swarm Tracer figure. Now, this is a deluxe figure from Series 4, and the Tracer is a glow-in-the-dark iteration of the Swarm Trooper. Now, if you're watching this product review and you don't know anything about Action Force or the Swarm are actually a faction within the Action Force storyline. They are a group of mercenaries who have undergone surgery and received biometric implants in their brain that allow them to communicate, receive, and transmit information as a group, just like a hive of insects. Their armor, their helmets, their jetpacks are all built and designed with the same aesthetic as insects like bees and wasps, hornets, making them an extremely lethal foe. So, taking a look at the packaging, you've got a really nice enclosed window display box, Action Force logo in the lower right. You've got the Swarm hive design on the box. There are 4 sets of interchangeable hands for this figure. There's also 3 interchangeable portraits. You've got a shield, a display base, the jetpack, the Maxim 9 sidearm, and you've got a Kriss Vector rifle, and I do believe he also has a fixed blade combat knife on his back. On the side panel, you've got some bioluminescent artwork of the Swarm Tracer. On the back of the packaging, you've got some obligatory product shots of the action figures. In the lower left, you've got the collectible cutout file card. It says Swarm Tracer, file name unknown. Primary MOS, Special Forces. Secondary skills, Covert Ops, Intelligence. Birthplace, various. Rank and affiliation, ranks unknown, the Swarm. It says the Swarm's technology is constantly evolving, making them more deadly with each battle. Recent reports noted that Swarm flight troopers were being shot out of the sky, but were hitting targets on the ground with an explosive force on par with Javelin missiles. These kamikaze-like troopers are being called Swarm Tracers. The Swarm have developed an experimental armor that will absorb the kinetic energy of ballistic rounds and turn it to a type of fusion, making it an explosive projectile. As the armor creates this fusion, it gives off a burning glow, making the Swarm Trooper look like a tracer round as it plummets into its awaiting target. Just when you thought you had the upper hand, the Swarm Tracers take your firepower, chew it up, and spit it right back in your face 10 times as hard. Alright, so here we have the Swarm Tracer outside of the packaging. I have to say, this is my favorite action figure within the Action Force toy line to date. I really like this figure. It looks incredible. Now, I do want to provide some context up front for both adult as well as younger collectors that may not be aware of this. Anytime a toy company produces components or parts of a toy in translucent plastic, as you see here with the figure, like its chest armor, the visor, shoulder armor, gauntlet armor, the belt, straps, thigh armor, shin armor, his boots, that translucent plastic is much thinner than the solid plastic components like on his torso, his arms, his legs, and so on. Because of that, under the right conditions, this translucent plastic could break much more easily with less stress than it would take to break a solid plastic part. So keep that in mind while you're collecting and playing with these figures. That being said, let's bring him in closer so you guys can see the attention to detail. And you'll notice he has the Swarm Horde helmet on. And I really like the visor. I like the texturing on the visor. It looks like the eye of a bug. I like the detail on the mandible there. And I imagine the parts of the helmet coming off the mandible going to the back, almost like the antenna of a bug would maybe be the integrated antenna for their personal communications. You can see his chest armor has got the Swarm logo on it. There's 2 mag holsters here, and those are spare mags for the Silencer Co. Maximum 9 pistol there. It's his accessory belt. So he has gauntlets, elbow armor, back of the chest armor. Fixed blade combat knife is translucent. Sheath is translucent. Again, keep that in mind, because that could break very easily. And you can see the connecting joint for his knee joints here is of a more solid green plastic than the actual outside or part of the leg. You see the inside part of the leg there is solid. Black hard knuckle gloves. Just a really cool figure. As far as articulation, head and neck are on a ball joint. Forward and lateral movement at the shoulder, butterfly joint. And again, you want to be careful with that. It's got an independent joint there on the upper part of the arm. Double jointed elbow, wrist swivel, and if they got wrist pivot, yeah, I believe they do. They got wrist pivot on there as well. Or, yeah. Of course, you can see the upper torso is on an independent ball joint. The ball joint at the base of the torso provide a full range of motion with these figures. They do a really good job with these Action Force figures. Forward and lateral movement at the thigh. Thigh rotation. Double jointed knees. And ankles will pivot and roll. I just really like the way this action figure looks. It's really, really nice. Let's talk about accessories. To begin, he does include a display base, and I really like the Action Force display bases. They don't have 2 pegs on them. They have 4 pegs on them, as well as a slot that is cut out for the file card. So if you choose to cut your file card out and display it on the base with your action figures, you can. And the port on the bottom of the boots. I don't know if you guys noticed that, unlike the G.I. Joe Classified Series figures, these guys have full tread on their boots. And look, the Swarm logo is also on the bottom of the tread of the boot in the form of the tread pattern itself. This guy went right on the display base, no problem. Next, I want to talk about the jetpack. I think this is absolutely insane. This is really cool. So not only does this operate as a jetpack for these figures, and I brought this up to Bobby in an email, I envision them being able to use this as a UAV, unmanned aerial vehicle, that they could remotely operate from their gauntlet. And Bobby informed me he had already thought about that. See, it's got a sticker here for the flames, translucent wings, translucent part here. You've got your nozzles for the jet thrust there. Peg on the back. And he's got a port there on the back of his chest armor. And it's a matter of aligning that with the port on the back of the figure, because it has to pass through the armor to go into the port. There we go. So now his jetpack is on. Next, he does include a translucent shield, and it's got a solid plastic part here with the Swarm logo, solid plastic handle that he can grip. So let's see how we can, you can't turn that, so I'm just kind of curious how I want to do this. wish it had an option to clip the shield to his forearm, but it doesn't. So I guess he could hold it down like that. Next is the Kriss Vector rifle. This is really cool. It's got an EOTech holographic sight on it. That one looks like a Magpul stock on it. Integrated suppressor. And turn it around again. It's kind of get this in his hand without stressing the plastic on the rifle. Yeah, there we go. And I'll pull out his sidearm so you guys can see that. Silencer code Maxim 9. So that all looks really, really cool. That's an awesome looking action figure. Now for the play feature of this action figure, he glows in the dark. No lights are on. Check that out. That is bad. All the way around. That's awesome. That really is. That is awesome. Overall, I have to say this is my favorite action figure in the Action Force toy line to date. It's my favorite action figure that I have purchased in 2025. I'm looking forward to getting several more of these in my collection, building an army with these guys. You are a collector or fan of Action Force, you definitely want to add this guy to your collection. There you have the Action Force Swarm Tracer by Valaverse.